Welcome to FCC Supporter Square, the show for fans, by fans, and about fans. Here's your host, Mark Suffin and Matt Warman. Hey, everybody, it's been a while. I've missed you too. It's been just a crazy ride of events. You know, life gets in the way and life can be really real at times. So I have some information before we get into it. But yes, I am here. Yes, FCC Supporter Square is back. We never really went away. It's just, things got in the way. My daughter has some back issues, and my wife had to go to New York. And the day that we usually record, was the exact time that I had to go pick her up. So that's what happened last week. The week before, my guest had things to do. Life got in the way, gets in the way for everybody. So we pushed that off. But we've got a major update. Mark Suffin, co-host, My Peanut Butter to His Jelly, had his heart surgery. It was successful. He stayed a couple extra days in the hospital as per recommended. He is back home. He's resting comfortably. I haven't had a chance to see him physically, but I have talked to him a couple of times, and I know he's going to tell you in his own words the good vibes and everything that you guys sent out to him. But I wanted to make sure, first and foremost, the top of the show, that you know that Mark is okay. He's on the mend. It's going to be a little while. Open heart surgery is kind of that way. But he'll be back and he'll be bouncing off the walls. I'm certain of that. But with that, I also have a guest. My guest here is Ben Siefring. How you doing, Ben?
Doing great. How are you doing, buddy?
Oh man, it's been an awesome time to see you.
Yep.
Busy times, summer's getting warm, it's really nice, all that fun stuff. But we're gonna get to soccer, and Ben and I, really, we have, I think, is an awesome story. I can't wait to
Sure.
share with you
Yep.
guys. Um, it's just how FCC fans are.
Exactly. It's a quintessential story
It
of
is. It
how
is
it all
going to be
started.
so cool. But before
Yep.
we do that, we always talk about what's been going on FCC wise. Last Saturday was a home game. First time I got to wear shorts. I guess another minor announcement is that I did film No an SG supporter bar. I went to 5 supporter bars and I did survive. Maybe not all the footage is super cool, but I'm in the process of stitching that up, and I'll put that one out next week in lieu of an actual live podcast. It's it is what it is, as it is every week here, but it was a lot of fun, and everybody was so gracious, and I think I have some really cool things to show you, but that's next week. So we won 2-1, gave up a goal after kind of late, but for the most part, we looked pretty dominant. What did you think of the performance?
I thought it was awesome. I brought my dad, my brother, and my sister-in-law who had never been to a game. I mean, it was the perfect game to bring someone to that's never been. There's some games that are just kind of boring. You'll lose last second or it's a tie. This thing was great from the get-go. Lots of action, perfect weather. The Bailey was going crazy. I mean, great fans, cheering sections. So I just thought it was a great game overall. Like you said, first game you're actually comfortable being at. You're wearing shorts. It was just a great game. Good team effort. You saw, Baird get into it. So I think it was a great game.
That's right. Corey Baird scored his first goal.
Yep.
He looked good, and I've been saying this for a while. I like Corey Baird. Not everybody's getting it. I understand he's got some limitations. I'm not saying he's the best striker in the league,
You
uh,
better like him now, though.
but he's always put in the effort, and he's just missed like 4 or 5 times. I mean,
Yeah.
if half of those go in, we're like another great goal by Corey Baird. He's
Yep.
that spark plug. But I tell you, the surprise of the season, not that we're surprised for as long as he's been here, is Kubo.
Yep.
Kubo has gone from the winger who couldn't quite put it together to the midfielder to the defensive midfielder. who's plug and play, and now they put him back up at striker, and oh my goodness, he looks like a completely different player. And then if you need to bring in a different striker or different strategy, you can bring him back to midfield, and my
He's so
goodness.
versatile. I mean, he's great to have on the team. I mean, like someone goes down, you can push him up, you can pull him back. You know, just having that flexibility. I remember like that's what I love about soccer. You can grab a player from Japan, you know, and bring him over. It's not like the NFL where everyone comes up from college football. The player pool is insane. You just got to hope the culture, you know, and the vibe fits with the team, which is the only question, you know, Mark. But Kubo's been amazing. I remember when he played in Atlanta, one of the first games. You know, like a crazy shot on goals. Like this guy has it. He's just been great for us overall for so long now.
It's been very cool. I thought, and I think the general consensus from what I was reading was that was Buka's best game.
Yep.
I thought Luca played very well, well-weighted ball on I think it was Baird's goal that kind of sprung him free. I can't remember first goal versus second goal, but
He had some great crosses. I was actually sitting in a different section. I used my company seats because I had four people with me. So I was sitting closer to like the TQL fan section down over there. And it was interesting to see from that angle versus being like First Financial, you know, closer to the Bailey. But I mean, some great passes, like consistent passes. So hopefully that keeps coming along because we're going to need some help, obviously.
yes, so some news that kind of broke today. Aaron Bupenza was out, and somebody didn't like him, and things
Yep.
were said, and that's all we know. And I'm not going to go into any big speculation there. I don't. I care a bit, but I don't care a whole lot.
Yeah.
Certainly for what we're doing here, I don't care about, should you be out at 2 a.m. on a Monday during the season? Probably not.
Right.
Should you?
Plenty of other people do and don't get sucker punched. I mean, it just is what it is. He's out for a very long time now. So that's really the gist of it. You know, it is what it is. I mean, there's been problems there just from like showing up late to stuff. I mean, just like kind of the consistent the smoke around him. You know, the fire was coming eventually, and maybe this is the fire, but now he's not there. So who's going to be coming in? How are they going to? You know, he hasn't actually been starting that much though. They've kind of been I don't know if Noonan was just not not exactly happy with him from the get go because they haven't really been starting him a crazy amount this season. So, um, but with the new signing, I was kind of hoping they would gel. So
Right, Kevin Kelsey is signed, officially official, although he's been here for about a week, I think.
yeah,
Just waiting for the visa, so that they've been probably working him, having him watch film sessions, so
did I
where
hear that correctly? He was
all that
playing in
kind of stuff.
he was playing in Ukraine.
Yep, he's like
Yeah, I mean,
19. Houston wanted him. There was a whole kind of fun and games where Houston was like, "Well, we want to give him $3 million and take him." It's like you don't have the discovery rights. He's our guy, and we're trying to assign him. And
yeah,
and
okay,
then, and then Ukraine didn't want to sell him off, even though he's not playing because he is good. He's very good. He's just 19.
right.
I mean, we're in a very weird position with the strikers, and certainly, you could say, is Bupenza in the category of Brenner, or is he in the category of Adi? I think he's somewhere in between.
I'm with you there. He's somewhere in between. He's not one of the other. I mean, Adi was just a shot in the dark for a season. Brenner, just it just didn't work out. I thought he had some good quality, and Bupenza, I think he has good quality, maybe just not great overall, team character type of guy. But you're not going to get that all the time, and it's so crazy. That's MLS. You got players coming from all over, different cultures. They're coming from different leagues they played in, and trying to get all those guys to jive together is such a hard thing. And that's why when you have a great GM and coach, you can pull that off. And we've seen when it doesn't work, right? You pull in a guy from the Netherlands or whatever. It's hard to pull off. So sometimes you got to swing and a miss.
And Noonan and Albright, they've proven me right or correct more than incorrect on these situations. A motivated and ready to go Bopenza um, is a guy you want on your team.
Yeah.
Uh,
I think
but
I
when
actually
he's
talked to
not
you.
motivated, then he's
I think
offside.
we were getting a beer down at First Financial, and I was talking to him like when he first signed, like he looks like he actually has like great qualities as a striker. Just fizzles out, unfortunately. But I thought he had great, ball control. Um, maybe favors his left foot a little too much going across, like trying to set it up too perfectly. But still, from our designated players, I thought he maybe had the greatest potential of all of them. So that's unfortunate.
That's the thing that's hard to swallow is that he's a DP. I don't know how we if we can offload him in the summer window and
Yeah,
something else and free up a DP slot for who knows what.
yeah,
Certainly, I'm sure they have some things cooking, but uh, my goodness, we've got some things loaded up. We haven't even seen Kevin Kelsey yet, but I mean, he just played in Champions League. He's playing against Real
yeah.
Madrid and whatnot. So he's used to that kind of competition. But he's
Right.
19. Dado is ripping it up in FCC too. He's going to be a fan favorite. He's like 18. These guys are
Have you been to
just
many of
top
those games?
class.
The FC2 games? Have you been to many of those?
I have. I did not go to last week's because I was trying to get some stuff done. As a
Yeah.
matter of fact, because I had to do some yard work because I've been backlogged on that. I actually got a really bad case of allergies. I cut a bunch of mulberry bushes that had flowers on them, and Monday I was just completely. That's why I sound wonderful here. That's my
You sound like a real manly
radio
man.
voice.
That's
Hey,
fine.
how
Yeah.
you doing, everybody? Um, but I have been to quite a few, three or four, maybe four, I think. Drummed at a couple.
That's
Um,
cool. Okay.
uh, I
I heard
did.
some murmurs that they might be like rebranding the team name to maybe be like more like Kentucky, like Commonwealth might be in it or something like that, and then maybe get more fans,
I
which I
believe
think would be a good idea.
I believe it's Commonwealth United, and uh, they don't like to let it out, and who knows if that changes. But
Yeah.
um, uh, I have people, but I don't have thousands of people. But it's oftentimes starters from the top club stop by and actually watch the game.
Yeah, that's
So
cool.
you can interact with some of those players that show up, and there's no guarantee that they show up or not show up, but they have been on not on the slide, they've been there, and but the last game was what 475 people, and it was free, and it
That's
was
great.
great. I mean, it's these guys are going to be the stars of the future. It's not something that we had USL days, right? Because we were
Yeah.
those were the stars of the future.
Essentially,
We
yeah,
hoped.
right.
And then it takes a couple of years to get a two. As we know, it takes a great deal of time to get the main club up and running
Yes.
where you want it before you get the two club. But they were trying to do both at the same time, and now FC Cincinnati two. Or Commonwealth United, whatever they eventually go with, but I think that's what they're going to go with. Uh,
Yeah. And they're pumping some money in the facilities over there too, I heard.
Oh, they're everything is looking great. It's a great place if you just like soccer. If you just
Yeah.
like soccer, it's a great place to go. It reminds you a bit of the USL days because it is
Yep.
a small stadium. Northern Kentucky Stadium isn't thousands, but it's nice and you're watching soccer. There's no stadium, there's no stands on the other side of the pitch, so everybody's
Okay.
on one side, and
Yeah.
it's a more relaxed. People that into Bailey are like, I'm just gonna watch. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna. We're,
Right. It's
so
a
there
rest
are
thing.
some stands, there are some canteen, but there's no smoke. There's
So who are they playing? Are they
but
playing like MLS Team Twos? Is that all they play, or do they play? Is that who they're playing?
yeah, for the most part, yes,
Yeah.
that's their MLS next,
Next.
whatever
Yeah.
that entails. And
Okay.
I think some of those old USL teams are now MLS next. I think they got rebranded, but like Bethlehem Steel, I think is Philadelphia's two team. But I couldn't know. Well, no, Philadelphia has their own two team, so I don't know. Maybe it's DC United's two team. I don't know. Um,
Yeah.
but it's a good time. So for those who like soccer, and go, I don't really want to spend a lot of money, but I want to watch some soccer, at least
Yeah.
get it, or you
I
want
have
to
12 kids and you don't want to, buy 12 tickets to the regular game. Yeah.
those guys down there, I'm telling you, the Dado Valenzuela is gonna be a star. We've got Steven Jimenez, who's only 16,
Yeah, right.
gonna be a star. Then
He
we've
was in
got
a diaper, I think, when they signed him, right?
yeah. Yeah, like 14, I think, is when they signed him, and there was that 14-year-old from the Philadelphia Union that just got signed from Man City when he turns 18, I think, or 21.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of talent here in the States, but there's a lot of talent specifically in our two team that's going to be funneled into our one team, and there's some exciting players, and they get their spot minutes here and
Is
there.
there any benefits to that from a team perspective when you homegrown a player? Is there like for your salary cap? Is there like a mechanism
Yeah,
there?
they're much cheaper. They are much cheaper if you're pulling
Okay.
in your homegrowns.
Nice.
You get to keep most of the money.
Okay. I like that. And then you can probably sell them off to
Exactly.
Europe or whatever, and then okay, and then reinvest and yeah.
And that's what the Philadelphia model is. Get a bunch of players, get your best players, sell them off as quickly as possible. You play them a little bit in your one team, but sell them off. We're not going to probably do that nearly as much. Uh,
Okay.
if you get a wonder kid, a once in a lifetime, and somebody's going to offer you 50 million, then probably you won't see them. But most of the other players who are going to be really good will probably play at least a year in the MLS
Okay.
to really show off, and you'll be very excited about that. So that's the thing that like you kind of get in baseball, but people don't watch baseball nearly as they used to. And
They're making it hard to watch.
football's minor league is college. I don't know about USFL or XFL. I don't really watch much American football anymore.
Yeah.
But there you go, right?
Right. No, actually, I have some guys who are looking to get drafted this year, and they, there are a lot more opportunities than just getting into the NFL now, the XFL, the Canadian Football League. So at least those guys do have other options, versus like in soccer, man. There's so many leagues; it's amazing. You can really make it. If you're a decent player, pick your league you want to go to.
So coming up this Saturday, road test against Orlando. Now, preseason, everybody thought Orlando would be one of the teams to beat. They haven't quite reached their potential. What do you think about Orlando on the road?
Um, I still like our chances. Would have liked him more without the Bupenza news, just with him, even if he subbed on late. So we'll see how this team, what what lineups they're gonna go with, what starting rotation. But I still like our chances. I still like this team if they can get their scoring down. The game Saturday I thought was great. And Bupenza came on late there, so it wasn't exactly he started from the very beginning. So I think we have a great chance to win again. And we'll just see where the season kind of goes from there with how it plays out.
I think what I saw is a continuation of what we've been talking about since probably February,
Yeah,
is that this team reloaded. It takes time, and you can
yeah,
tell in those early games that they were still figuring things out. And then you get a DeAndre Yedlin while you're in the beginning
yeah.
part of the season, so he didn't really have all that much time. But now he's playing. You could tell Lucho put his braids on. He looked like that was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a nod to DeAndre Yedlin. I think this team is beginning to gel. It's beginning to look good. It's not like last year it was Lucho and Barrial. It's one side. It's that one side. You don't worry about the other side. People are beginning to cheat over to one
Yeah.
side. You can kind of double team Lucho to make him give up the ball
Plus,
higher
Matt, those
up.
guys have played a lot. They had played together a long time. Vasquez, Barrial, and Costa had played together a very long time, oddly long in the MLS, right?
Yes.
So, like when I have people that don't follow the team very closely, like what's going on this season to start? I'm like, these guys have never played together. Last year was a godsend how long that team had been together, that little core that had started early on. So it's just that's a rarity.
And I think you're seeing Luca kind of take over the Barriel.
Yeah,
It's going to take some time, but he's beginning to get really comfortable. He was away. He had a family tragedy, which puts your mind and body not right for a little while.
for sure.
May not be 100%, on the mental side, but playing the game probably helps. But you've
Yep.
got DeAndre Yedlin, who's now beginning to fit into this group. He got away from the circus that is Inter Miami, so you can tell that he's just happy to play, just
Yeah,
happy to play. Um,
right.
but that balances it. Just having that extra wing back who's not the weaker of the wing backs, we can attack from either side of the pitch. We can go and often if we have those wing backs and we have our strikers, we've got our 5-on-5 or 5-on-4. That lets Lucho push it up the pitch. If you don't, if you don't cover him, he'll shoot. If you do cover him, he's going to put a perfectly weighted pass to somebody who's either going to cross or take a shot. And that's what
Yep.
you're beginning to see here is that we were trying to do that. And I could see what they were trying to do early, but the pass was behind, the pass was a little slow,
Right.
right? You got to figure out all that stuff. I think they're beginning to figure all that stuff out. I think the next 6 weeks and we've got Hell is Real in Columbus coming up soon. But the next 6 weeks, I think you're going to see them turn the corner even more.
Right. And I mean, one thing we do know is the defense is going to be very good all season long. And getting Salentano back is going to be a great thing. Just hopefully Miazga doesn't get like another red card or something. He's close. He's really close. So we're going to have a great defense. So can the front side solidify and all these guys gel together? We're good defensively.
Yeah, and then what I said was I was afraid we were turning into Nashville where all the games are 0-0 or
Yeah. Right.
1-1.
And you
But
lose in the 91st minute. Or remember the first season, and then our first season. I remember like at TQL, man, we lost so many games like in stoppage, which is just brutal to drive home to.
yes, I
Yeah,
remember I think it was the Inter Miami game where Hagelin ties the game, and then we gave up a goal like 2 minutes later
yeah,
and
yeah.
lost. Like, so let's move on to the story. So Ben, I'm going to start how I know you, and you can continue with the story. Um, we did not know each other at the beginning of the season. We were just two FC Cincinnati fans. As a matter of fact, back in the day, in the Nippert days, the only place people were actually congregating was at the Brass Tap. It was fairly close. Mecklenburg was the place for DI, but everybody else who was just hanging around, not even knowing what a supporter group was just at the
Yeah.
Brass Tap. It's not a large place. It's not a small place either, but that's where everybody was going, and it gets really crowded really quickly. And I think it was about an hour and a half before kick, and we show up, and my daughter had come in from New York City, and it was my birthday uh, for that game. And she wanted to come up and join us. So the three of us show up. Everything's packed. There's one open table, and you're there. And I think it was either my wife or my daughter said, "Hey, can we sit there?" And you said yes, and
Yeah.
continue.
Probably like, get on in here. Of course you can sit here, there's open seats. I was with a random group of people too. I was with a buddy, someone else I kind of barely knew, which is that's just the fun times about those games back then, It's just like, let's go watch some soccer so early on. But we just, you looked very, unique. You got longer hair. So maybe if you were just like a, short haircut guy, maybe I wouldn't have recognized you. But, you know, from then on, every time I saw you, I was like, we just had an immediate connection. Plus, you're easiest spot on TV. So I'm always like, there's Matt, there's Matt, there's Matt while we're doing. So it's been great over the years. I mean, those seasons were so fun early on. So fun. I mean, one maybe I didn't have kids to go home to, but also just fun to, just to watch those teams kind of progress over the years. Just a great time.
So this was May 2016. It might have been like the third or fourth home game.
Oh
And
yeah,
it
for
was
sure.
very early, and I think people were just happy to have other people wear orange and blue because at that point
Yeah.
you didn't see, if you saw anybody with an FC Cincinnati shirt or even an orange shirt, that was like, or not, didn't say Bengals on it. That was crazy. I mean,
Yeah,
it was like
you're right. Most
all,
of the shirts you saw were like Bengals orange or something like that. Just like a random thing. Um,
University of Tennessee or Florida,
yeah,
or Broncos because they're orange and blue because nobody could. There wasn't a lot of swag out there anyway. But but if so, you see people all dressed up in the kind of same orange or similar orange and
yeah.
blue. You're like you feel like a special camaraderie.
I
So
was semi interested in like going to like a Saints. I think they were called the Saints. They actually played at Taft, where TQL's at now, and it was like a semi pro league, but it was before FC Cincinnati. But it was like super minor league. Never went. So in this launch, I'm like, okay, that's interesting. But they played a scrimmage against the University of Dayton before we met, and that's the first game I went to with some friends because I went to UD. So I was like, oh, okay, hey, I can watch the alma mater and watch this new team play. And there was a decent crowd for that, and it was like a weekday game or something. I was like, all right, let's go to the first game
was that Founders? Were you in Founders?
at UD.
Yeah.
No, I was up in Stewart.
Okay. I was
Yeah,
in Founders. I
you're in,
actually got
okay.
I got lucky.
Yeah, my dad worked there, so I went for free, so I got that
Oh,
going for me. Yeah,
well, there you go.
yeah,
So yeah, so I'm familiar. I'm familiar with your hangouts.
yeah, that's for sure. Timothy's.
Yeah, I've been in the ghetto a few times.
Just a few, just a few.
Uh, but uh, but yeah, so we met and you were gracious and then I think we all left for the march. I know that we did. I think you came with us. One of those early marches
Yeah,
where you kind of have to kind of run up and meet them and this before anything was really planned and then so like as Ben said like two or three times a year usually around halftime there's at Nippert there was a secret bathroom and on the way to the secret bathroom he'd go, hey man, how's it going, and we'd all sit and chat and he's gone from single and then every year this would happen three four times a year,
yeah.
not planned at all, and we'd just come and talk and my wife and I would talk and then it's like, hey, well, I think I got a girlfriend and it's like, well, now I'm married and now I'm talking to you. Now I have
Now I
kids.
got kids.
So
Now I
you
got
went
two
from
kids.
a
Yeah, and
single
actually,
guy.
there's a puppy laying behind me. So yeah, we're two kids and a puppy now. Yeah,
You were just you hanging
yeah,
out, being footloose and fancy free,
yeah.
and now here you are, a family man.
Respectable.
There you go. Well,
Yeah,
I think you were always very respectable.
very
So
respectable. That's right.
it's a lovely tale of we've been doing this for years and it's always the same. It's like a homecoming every time we get to meet again.
I,
This is
I
great.
know.
Because this is what I'm talking about when I do my show. This is the whole thing is that if you come to an FC Cincinnati game, you might meet some rando. You don't have to bring your whole family, and if you do, that's great.
Yeah,
But you can come by yourself, meet some people, and you can end up having a relationship like we've had for what 8 years now.
for
Uh,
sure. I
Completely
just love
unplanned.
the
And
crowd of the FC. I go to a lot of sporting events. I mean, the crowd of the Cincinnati FC Cincinnati games. It's the best. It's the people I connect to. Everyone's respectable. You take your children to other events. You might be afraid to take them to the bathroom because there's people are just super wasted or whatever. And I have a good time too. But I just love going to FC Cincinnati games. Everyone's nice. Everyone's there to have a good time. It's just a bunch of families and people that love soccer, and I do. So like we said, known each other for how long now, and it's just from a random event, sit next to each other.
that's all it takes is just
Yeah,
hey, if somebody wants to sit somewhere. The moral of the story, if somebody wants to sit by you and you have space, just go. Yeah, because you never know how it's gonna turn out
you just brought up a
or
great memory though. That random bathroom at Nippert, God bless it.
oh, because that
What a
first
great
year,
bathroom.
so for those who don't know Nippert or don't remember how this worked, particularly because there was 20,000 fans or
Yeah,
more there, the first year everybody went. There was one bathroom on one side. There was a smallish bathroom on the south side, but most people were on the north, I guess northwest side. And it was just waiting for a line was like you have 15 minutes, you spent 16 of it waiting. So if you had had one too many waters, you
Exactly.
were
Yep.
you
Still
were
hydrated.
you were really dancing quite a bit, and that was always there was no guarantee you would get to the bathroom before
Yeah.
you before other things happened. But then somebody turned me on to, oh yeah, there's underneath the Bailey, there's like 30 restrooms. And like nobody goes to them because nobody knows about it.
You
And
want to know what I did?
what
I
did you?
switched out of the Bailey. I went general admission, and I stood in front of those bathrooms.
That's right. That's why I'd see you
Because then
a
you can
couple of
because then you can see the goal underneath the Bailey, right? Because if you're standing in the Bailey, you couldn't quite see the goal underneath you. So
times.
those seats were fantastic, and you could still go to the bathroom in like 10 seconds. Now I still miss like at least 4 goals in like the 10 feet to go into the bathroom. They'd score. I'm like, son of a bitch. There it goes.
And so there you go. There's a pro tip. If we were if you're at Nipper, try to get the GA and be by the bathrooms. You get to see the probably end
It's
zone
amazing.
for
Yep.
UC football. But that's kind of how it rolled, and that's kind of the story of the secret bathroom. Well, Ben, it's been a pleasure as always. I will see you, I'm sure, randomly
Yep.
at the First Financial. Don't be a stranger. Of course, you can't be at this point. But it's always nice to see you, and thank you so much for joining us here on FCC Supporter Square.
Thanks for having my longtime friend, and I'll see you at the next one.
Absolutely, and I have to say, the next match is Orlando. The next match after that is Hell is Real in Columbus. Um, I'm going up to New York, so I'll probably be watching it with Auxilia One. But the Wednesday match, Wednesday the 15th, is Atlanta, and it's also will be my 60th birthday. So I'm only telling you this.
Oh,
If you guys want to say happy birthday, that's fine. But what I'm trying to tell you is that if
oh,
you see me, it's my 60th birthday, game day. If I'm acting a little more goofy than normal, you'll know that somebody's given me an extra pint. So that's all I'm saying. The just if you see me on that particular game,
just one extra.
it'll be just a little different. So anyhow, thank you for joining me, and thank you for watching, everybody. We are over 100 subscribers. We're looking to drive this to 150 and then maybe 200, and we'll see how this goes. But it's always nice to be back, and we'll see you next time on FCC Supporter Square. Thank you for listening to FCC Supporter Square. Your hosts are Mark Shupin and Matt Warner. If you'd like to be a guest, please contact us at fcc.supp.square@gmail.com. The intro song was Living Inside My Brain by the Stone Bunnies. The exit song was Awesome Sauce, also by the Stone Bunnies. Thank you for listening.